My name is Gregg Deal. I am from Pyramid Lake. I've been in Washington, D.C. for the last 16 years and just moved here with my family. I do a lot of different art, and among them is spoken word that I usually tie in with performance art. So I have these lone standing pieces. But I wrote this piece that I want to share with you because I wanted to do something that was true and honest. Something that wasn't played up with a performance piece, but something that spoke very honestly about who I am and where I come from in this world that we exist in. It's untitled, so tentatively I'm calling it Traveling the World Upon the SS Anger. While we try to reconcile the trauma that has beset our people, everyone is talking about wanting to make America great again. Greatness is subjective. Do you ever notice that the ones who say don't act like a victim are often victimizing? Someone once asked me if I was angry. Are you angry? The things I say and the way I say them. They ask if I'm angry because I use words like injustice and inequality. They ask me if I'm angry because I say words like genocide, racial superiority, and colonialism. Are these words of anger? But aren't these also words of truth? These words are synonymous with words like American dream and manifest destiny. And the irony of your question about me being angry because I use these words is that these aren't my words. These are your words. But am I angry? If you asked me this question 25 years ago, my answer might have looked different. It would have been a question coming after spending about 13 years of being called a prairie nigger and a wagon burner. It would have been a question just a few years after reading for the first time, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, the autobiography of Malcolm X, and In the Spirit of Crazy Horse. It's a question that would have come after several years of being followed around the mall by security because I was just brown enough. And if you asked me if I was angry 25 years ago, I might have told you where to go. I might have told you don't know me. I might have told you that you don't know my struggle, that my only crime is being brown and to have long hair. No, officer, I'm just guilty of being indigenous in the modern age. 25 years ago, I might have told you that I can feel the hundreds of years of oppression my ancestors felt through your one gaze, your white man's side eye, which I assure you is nothing compared to a good Indian woman's side eye. And you might have asked me the question, calling me chief and kimosabi, and I might have punched you in the mouth or broke your nose or kicked you in the stomach with the strength of a young boy filled with so much historical trauma that your great-great-great-grandfather might have felt it and understood for just that one moment that his posterity was in big, big trouble. But in that moment, anger is relative. Anger is a relative. Anger is the father that beats you because you stood up for yourself at school, but doesn't know the whole story because when the teacher called and said that your son was acting totally inappropriate and had a fight with another boy, he leaves out the fact that the other boy was telling you you were less than him and that your people were scum and that you all deserve to die. The teacher left out that you broke his nose because he made a face like he smelled something bad and didn't realize that it wasn't me that he was smelling, but the smell of death that emanates from the ground of every corner of this country because the foundation of America is death and disease and slavery and torture and mutilation. Am I angry? You misread what I'm saying and my reactions behind them. Because if you'd asked me that question 17 years ago, I might have calmly told you, oh man, I don't know what you're talking about. I might have been quiet about my strong opinions. These things are true. History is true. The feelings that I have with every good and bad experience are true. I may have sat in a theater once watching some Indian movie, one of those movies that comes out once a decade, and I might have thought, man, I wish I was there because I would have killed every man that ever tried to take my family or invaded my home or invaded my community or taken my language or taken the culture. And then you might have been shocked and you might have been thinking, gosh, he's so angry. But all I would be thinking about is defending my family and defending my home. And when you're standing with your gun spouting off Second Amendment rights, claiming that you would kill anybody that would come into your home in the same tone that you would call me a savage or tell me that the colonialist ones and the Indians lost and I should get over it, am I angry? That one time I met somebody, and within 30 seconds of meeting him, he didn't look me in the eye or even in my general direction. He spoke to me as if speaking to the wind, but I know his words were focused on me. Are you an Indian? Yes. So I guess you get a free check from the government. To which I said to him that there's never been anything free in this country for Indian people. And if we did get a check, it would be lined with the skin and the blood of millions of indigenous people who unknowingly paved the way for us to get this fabled check, signing over their futures and all the things by contract with fancy names called treaties. But we don't get checks because this government has never kept its treaties, the same treaties that are spoken of in the Constitution, the same Constitution that was drafted after the same Constitution that was used by the Six Nations in the East. You've been fed lines to think the Indian people are doing better than you and that we are suckling this government like fat cats. But I didn't say that to him. I should have said that to him. Instead, I laughed and I said, do you really think that? To which he finally did look at me, and he said, yes, I do. And I said to him that he was mistaken and that he should know his history. And then he called me a militant. A militant? A militant? They automatically take us for being mad because they know that we should be mad. They know that our existence is a protest to their policies. Militant? Now, militant would make me angry, wouldn't it? Militants invade and take over. They create violence and death. And 13 years ago when this happened, it was America that invaded a desert on the other side of the world. It was America that took over. And it was America that created violence and death. And here we've stood. Here Indian people have stood, looking at the second coming of the same old colonization. For we are not the vanishing race. We're just the forgotten one because we're still here. And in all my years, I have known that everyone wants an Indian name, and everyone wants me to talk of Mother Earth and Father Sky. They want to hear wisdom come from my lips because this is what an Indian is supposed to be. But if I talk of our earth dying, our land being taken, American genocide, our non-human states, you ask me with that wrinkled brow and the concerned look on your face, are you angry? And when you ask me this today, I smile widely. And I take your hand respectfully in mine with a firm handshake. And I state in the most inoffensive way possible, yes, I am.